Hi there. Welcome to Living the Dream podcast. And my name is Chad Bennett, and I'm the team lead here at Living the Dream Real Estate Group. And today with us, we have Andrew Hanson, as well as one of our team members, Scott Peters. Today, we are going to be talking about short term rentals. Just this last week, on the 16th of October, the BC government came out with a whole set of new legislation with regards to short term rentals, which is going to have a huge impact on the short-term rental industry across British Columbia. Obviously, this was not something that we anticipated, not something that we had foresight of. So there is still a lot of questions. There's still a lot of answers that we need to get on the matter, and we realize that we don't have all of those right now. So I'll preface what we get into today is all going to be based off the information we have now as of today of the podcast. But we do look forward to getting more information, and as we do get more information, we'll be updating you with that. But today, to help us with this, we have Andrew Hanson, and he is a property manager here in the Okanagan and can speak very clearly or have a really good understanding about what's happening in the industry. Andrew, why don't you tell us where you're from and the company that you're with?
Thanks, Chad. Yeah, and thanks for having me on this morning. My name's Andrew from Real Property Management here in Kelowna. Certainly this has been the hot button topic for us in the last few weeks. As a company, we are predominantly a long-term rental company. We also provide short-term rentals as well. So this affects us. It affects our clients. And really, I mean, all of this, I mean, if we take a step back, this has all come about as a result of affordability or a lack of affordability, certainly across the province, but particularly here in the Okanagan as well. I mean, we have seen grumblings of this from a municipal level. Certainly, the city of Kelowna has been they implemented all of these changes back in 2019 to implement short-term rentals and start the licensing period. Since then, we've had this affordability issue, we've had this vacancy issue, and just in the last 12 months, they've looked to make additional changes just to pare that back a little bit, create more affordable housing, create more longer term tenancies for people, and that's what we've seen just from a local level. Now, Chad, as you were talking about back a week and a half ago, we were essentially hit with this sledgehammer from the provincial government that came out and really stood in front of the municipal thinking at the time and have put a proposal in place, or put an act in place now that's going to limit short-term rentals to owner-occupied properties or properties you're still owner-occupied, but where you may have a carriage home or a secondary suite within your home, which is a huge change.
Oh, yes, very much so. So when we're thinking of, Andrew, the scope of this, and we're looking at the amount of units that will be impacted, do you have an idea of what that's going to be for not only British Columbia, but then more specifically here in the Okanagan, and who this is really going to have an effect on?
Yeah, it will be interesting. I mean, from a provincial level, it looks like it's about 28,000 homes that are currently under that banner of short-term rentals. So from a provincial point of view, and they've come out and said this, this is a great news story in that it's putting those places back into the market, creating more long-term rentals. But certainly for anyone that's in that umbrella of the 28,000, you're relying on that income from short-term rentals, then this is a big deal. We really see that here in Kelowna, where we've got a number of zoned areas that are under that umbrella at the moment, that do allow short-term rentals. So depending on their business models and how they're intending to structure their own portfolio, their own business, then these are these are the people that are going to be affected potentially in the short term. Now, the city met again on it's the 27th now. They met again this last past Monday, uh, and just put together a proposal to grandfather in a number of those zoned areas. So they are looking to allow those zoned areas to continue on a short term basis. Now, the trick is going to be, and we've got another public hearing coming up on the 21st of November. The the issue will be if the province does decide that they're not going to allow any of those short-term rentals to continue, their ruling will supersede anything that that we'll do on a municipal level.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, so already you're seeing the impact. It was
I think,
almost
I
instantaneous.
think, yeah. I mean, I think we're seeing the impact on a number of levels, just on the on the rental market right now. Um, we've seen some other softer regulations come in this year, just with the way they're policing short term rentals and just trying to sort of keep a handle on it. And we've certainly seen more inventory come onto the market in the last 2 or 3 months, potentially with maybe the writing on the wall or just with some sort of direction, thinking that the short-term rentals may have issues down the line. But yeah, from boots on the ground, we've seen more rentals come into the market recently than we've seen in quite some time.
So
And this is all by design. This is exactly what the province wants to see happen. So in like as a result of that, we're seeing rental rates come down.
Mm.
And there's more options for long term tenancies, and that's really the name of the game right now.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
So as a follow up to that, because I think that's a big part to this. Obviously, the province is coming out with this legislation to create that more affordable rental market for people, and of course, affordable housing in general. So, in terms of where we were sort of sitting last year, which my understanding is vacancy rates were fairly low, like about 1.2%, but of course, data lags a little bit there. What what have you guys seen sort of year over year, Andrew, in terms of overall inventory, and then how has that affected prices? Obviously, it's come down, but to what respect, or what do those margins looks like in terms of how much it's come down?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much going on in the real estate market right now, right? And we're battling with interest rates, and um, we're seeing places where people are renewing into a 6 or 7% mortgage, so they're either unable to carry that, and this is homeowners or investors. Um, and in turn, we're also seeing that some of those places where people aren't actually able to sell as well. So we're seeing a number of things. We're seeing those kinds of places come onto the market. Where we're also seeing more short-term rentals come onto the market as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the third thing we're starting to see now is more purpose-built places come onto the market as well. And I know that there was another announcement earlier this week from the federal government for, I don't know if you guys saw this, but something like $30 million that was being assigned. Um, and I'm sure that'll go to purpose-built rentals as well. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're seeing we've probably seen rents come down already between that 10 to 15%, and that's from the frothy highs of say summer last year. But even now, as I scroll through, say, Marketplace, the listings there, or Castanet, which we use here for a lot of the rental listings, we'll see in excess of 900 listings
Mm.
across the valley, which is far in excess of anything we've seen in the last 2 or 3 years anyway.
So when you're looking at that, this is really interesting, specifically here in the Okanagan. So you've been seeing that that start to increase in the last while. With
Mm.
our fire situation that we just had and came
Yep.
through here, there's also been that having impact on some of that product or some of that availability. Could you do two things? So one thing is speak to how that had effect on our rental industry here, the fire situation because of the homes that were lost. But then two, if you could, when we were talking about the rates that we're seeing, could you break down just for some of our listeners just what some of those rates might be or how that's what we're seeing, maybe a single family home, a condo, townhome, what those rental rates are?
Um, ye- Backing up to the fire, obviously that was a really intense period of time, and we had a number of tenants that were displaced. We had two places that we managed that burnt down. One particular family that lost everything.
Hmm.
And it was a really trying period across
So sad,
across the
yeah.
valley here and across Kelowna, and it was it was also interesting as I look back and reflect on that now, and really nice how everyone was able to band together and um, make sure that people weren't left out without accommodation. But we've we've seen personally here like a little bit of an uptick in filling places that um, with families that have lost their homes. Probably not as much as we had initially thought.
Hmm.
Um, there's certainly, I mean, we're still fielding. I was chatting with someone earlier this week that they've been staying at a family's place while their insurance is being sorted out. So we may still see situations where people have just now sort of finalized what they're doing or what their movements are going to be, and but it wasn't like a bang. Okay, everything's changed.
Hmm.
So, and then, yeah, I mean, as far as pricing goes, it's always hard to give blanket pricing. I mean, the easiest one for me to do is something like on a two bed condo, which we do have a lot of here, just locally here in Kelowna. And at the moment, like if I'm just looking in Castanet, we've got in excess of 250 listings there right now, and we'll see them anywhere from say 1,600 through to 4,200. And there's a big range there, and you've got the 4,200. Maybe you're on one Water Street in one of the top floors there. So as a tenant, you've really got some scope right now as far as picking and choosing
Hmm.
where you want to live, and there's some reasonable deals to be had.
Okay. So a couple of other questions here now, just with regards to kind of projections and kind of where we're seeing things go. So on the short term rental aspect of things, it's really that whole landscape has changed dramatically. So when people are thinking of or have been doing this, what are some of the things that they really need to be mindful of right now about their own situation? So let's say they've been operating an Airbnb and it's been for some income. What are some of the big checklist things that they need to be asking themselves right now and how this is going to affect them?
Yeah, I mean, it will be interesting, and I feel like everyone's just sort of treading water until we do get
Mm.
clarification on it. I mean, for our own clients right now, yeah, we're looking to pivot, looking to sort of find some certainty in getting quality long term tenants. I mean, my belief is like long term. I think, I mean, we're always going to have blips when we're investing or when we're in the real estate market. I think Kelowna or the Okanagan Valley long term, I'm still really bullish on just what's going on here, just as a place to attract people to live in, to invest in. I look at the just the amount, like just even the immigration story. If we're bringing in 1 million people into Canada each year, and we get that ripple effect here as well. So I think for anyone that's in that short term market, for us, I mean, I think it is finding quality long term tenants, and we do have a lot of quality tenants that are looking for long term stuff that we can place into these condos that are still on really, I mean, I think competitive rental rates, but it is not necessarily going to be the highest of the highs that we've seen in the short term space anyway. So it's and that's what honestly I think that's what real estate investing should be. I think it should be long, boring, and you're just riding out the waves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it is. Revisit it again in 5, 10 years, and you've paid down your mortgage. Hopefully, you've got a bit of cash flow, and maybe there's some appreciation there as well. But it's riding out the waves in the short term.
Well, that's one thing that Scott and I talked about just recently when we put when we came up with our market update on just how things are going. In that, yes, interest rates are well, thankfully, a hold this week, and that we haven't seen that increase. But out of any time that we've had in recent memory, is that this is a great time to be getting into the market when we know what at least the interest rates are, and like you say, for the rental possibilities that you can have somebody in and renting for long term to grow that equity, it certainly could be a great time for people. So that's great.
And
One last question.
I think it's this period's going to provide opportunity for people as well.
Yeah,
there's just no doubt about it. There's depending on what happens. I mean, we're already seeing people being forced to sell or in other situations. So I think getting into the market right now, I think we'll look back at it, and this will be one of those opportunities, one of those times in history that sort of makes sense when everyone is fearful.
Correct. Yeah. Well, Andrew, I just want to really thank you for taking some time out of your schedule to join us and inform some of our clients and our listeners just about what's going on with things specifically here in the Okanagan and across BC. So thank you so much for that. So if people would like to get in touch with you, we're going to have it in a write-up about our presentation today. But could you just share your digits and your information on how to contact you?
Yeah. Probably email's the best. Andrew.Hanson at realpropertymgt.ca. And the number here is 236-766-1118.
Right on. Well, Andrew, thank you so much. And again, from all of us here at Living the Dream Real Estate Group, we really want to thank you for your time and sharing with us. And we look forward to the next time that we can talk about some of the other local aspects of when it comes to rentals and what our clients and listeners can be thinking about and pondering when it comes to that. So we'll have you on again here in the next little while.
You bet.
But for all of our listeners, thank you for joining us. If you do have questions, please reach out to Scott and myself. We're always getting questions, and we hope that this has provided you some answers with what is happening with the new legislation. As we do, as I prefaced in our podcast today, we will be getting back to you with some more information on it as it becomes available and as we can provide it. So please do keep in touch and keep following us on all our social media feeds, as we will be getting and supplying more information as it comes. So from all of us here at Living the Dream Real Estate Group, thank you so much for joining us. And we are here, of course, to help you live your dreams here in the Okanagan. Take care.